against Zach Dawson. Best of mates off the ground.
They're not supposed to be whacking each other like that, Kelly. That was the rule that came out from Jeff Gushin. And we'll just see if they're going to police it. They don't want players backhanding each other, elbowing in the back and so on. It'll be hard for these two teams because they like to get into each other.
They certainly do. Max Hudson is the stand-in skipper this afternoon, given that Revolt's out and so too Lenny Hayes. The Hawks kicking to the left of screen.
You don't miss a trick with all those new rules, Rob. You'd be a good umpire. Here we go. Aurora Stadium, crowd roaring. It's going to be a big one, and there might be rain during the day. Taylor has first crack for the Hawks as they go in with their 3 ruckmen. But St Kilda gain the metres. Dempster helping Milne. Well tied up and gone for holding it or throwing it. So Gillen for the Hawks. Franklin working down the back and poking it out wide for McGlynn. Hawthorn kicking into the wind, and the wind looks as though it could really have some impact here. So they're probably going to go short as they work it forward and hold possession. Soak up time. Kennedy and Bateman ran into Schneider's shoulder. McAvoy taken high.
McAvoy starting in the forward line.
Bad fumble by Schneider, and he'll pay for it. He's gone. Lots of whistle early. Hawthorn's ball, McGlynn.
McGlynn off to Lewis, and then he goes long, rough head underneath it. He's caught out of position though, and Hudson, standing skipper, a good one-handed mark.
Maxie Hudson playing on rough head, Zach Dawson on Buddy.
And they bring it on the outer side. Schneider's in there, needs to beat Birchall, gets a handball away. Safety of the boundary line, sees it over.
And Maxie Hudson dropping back there, and a beautiful one-handed mark. I reckon it's about a 2-goal breeze that the Saints are kicking with.
This is going to be a really challenging day. It'll test the skills of both teams. Fumble by Jones. Another whistle. A Hawthorn free kick. Lewis to take it. Over on the old railway side of the ground, as it used to be called in the days where the trains used to run along there. Bateman with his back being laid upon, but no free kick.
Now, Tim, you'd be quite at home here. You grew up, a lot of you growing up done in Launceston. Tell us a bit about the ground. To the right, what end is it?
That's the city end, Rob.
To the left?
To the left is the Invermay Park end, otherwise known as the Ponting end, because that's where a young kid named Ricky Ponting played his early club cricket with Mowbray. Jones soccers the Saints forward. Mitchell, though, has had some good games against the Saints in recent times. Free kick and advantage now as he gives to Birchall. Hawthorn doing well early. McGlynn certainly having the better of it, skipping away from Ray, just catching him napping a little bit there. Rough head. Hudgston's got him. Osborne to help out. Another Hawthorn free kick. Chalking them up.
Michael Osborne will take it, and he gives it off to Birchall, who goes short and finds McGlynn on the lead. So McGlynn getting his hands on it early. Looked to give it off by hand. Now he has a bounce, and from 50 he goes long. It's a disappointing kick though. It's straight down the throat of Michael Gardner.
Good to see Michael Gardner back in this St Kilda team, Kelly. He's had a wonderful season playing in the ruck, former All-Australian ruckman when playing with West Coast.
Gardner goes long, out wide, finds Milne. The Saints going with 3 big men this afternoon. You heard Rob say early, McAvoy starting up forwards, and Milne's kick is smothered. Ball in dispute now, ball to be won. McGlynn again, another kick, bouncing ball. Gardner there again to save the day. Backwards, concedes some ground. Milne, and now Blake out wide to Dawson. Oh, it just popped up for an anxious moment. Allowed Bateman to come into the contest, but the Saints still haven't cleared. Mitchell swoops short, skirting the perimeter. The captain to the vice captain in Hodge, and he just pops it to a teammate in Kennedy, who is by himself right on the 50. Josh Kennedy has been enjoying some game time in this side in recent times, and he just pokes it to Osborne.
This will test the wind, and you can see they're trying to short it. That's the 3rd short pass as they creep closer to the goals. And I would think that McGlynn should be able to make the distance from there. He's only about 40 metres out, but it's a pretty strong breeze. And the grandstands here aren't that big, so the wind does get over the surface and affect the flight of the footy.
So this will tell us a lot about the conditions early. Ben McGlynn, he booted 1 goal 4 last week in the Hawks' 18-point loss to Port Adelaide. And here he comes. It's got the accuracy and it's got the distance. The Hawks break through first.
Osborne didn't have a shot from 40, which says something for his perception of the strength of that wind.
Straight back here, guys.
And the injury list for the Saints appears to grow at the moment. Adam Schneider is only out there for a couple of minutes, and you can see the physios working heavily on both those hamstrings.
Good start by Hawthorn. Having all of the ball, and they've kicked the first goal into the wind. Soaked up more than 4 minutes. The fact that Michael Osborne didn't have a shot from 40 metres out suggests that there might be more than 2 goals in this wind, and the Saints have got to start using it. Gardner giving it off. Begley to Eddie for St Kilda as they work it to the 50 for the first time. Stephen the first game at a Milne. Good centre for the Saints. It was touched before McAvoy got his hands onto it, and he's immediately stripped of the footy. Kennedy over the ball. There'll be a ball up, 30 out from St Kilda's goal. Let's have a look. I think there were a couple of touches. Hodge, first of all.
Nice to see young Stephen get a couple of sharp handballs. That'll settle the nerves.
Taylor the first hand on it there. Hawks crowding the footy. Hodge. Campbell Brown playing for the behind. And, well, it's almost anything goes now.
Big Gardner coming off. He's done well in the first few minutes. Stephen King to replace him. That's interesting. Campbell Brown said, I'm not kicking into that breeze. I'll leave it to you, skipper. And Sammy Mitchell grabs the footy.
He doesn't want the kicking duties. Now Mitchell just short. Oh, they almost mess it up here. Lack of communication. Tuck could be caught. That's holding the ball. McAvoy free kick.
And it was just, you can see the short pass, indecision there. Bateman just spooked young Tuck. And then the big fella McAvoy wraps up the arms and wins a free kick for incorrect disposal. And that's the sort of thing that would lift any team to see a big fella that size be able to put on a tackle. He's got to finish it off now. I think we were lucky, Tim. It's starting to rain out there now.
McAvoy just 2 goals in his senior career. And from point blank range, slots it through. The Saints have got there first.
Just make sure no one actually pushes anyone into the square.
And we can see the good tackle by the big ruckman McAvoy on Tuck. Wins the free kick, kicks the goal. Cyril Rioli being worked on. Good to see Luke Ball out there for this centre bounce for the Saints.
Clanging error by the Hawthorn defence, giving up 3 or 4 minutes of very good work. Oh, McWalter running hard at it and running into the oncoming Renoff. Saints free kick. Clark probes forward, the wind carrying it beyond expectation. Murphy giving it off, but Hawthorn under some pressure.
Gee, that's a good tackle on a big man by a first gamer, and you can see Kazitsky giving him a couple of encouraging pats on the back.
So the ruckman, King and Renoff wrestle. Rough head down the back for Hawthorn doing some work, but there'll be a ball up.
In there, come through. Thanks, guys.
King and Renoff again. King dislocated his shoulder last week. It popped out up in Sydney. There's some doubt on him this week, but he's one of a few of the Saints' best 22 out there. 8 of their best 22 missing.
Jared Ruffhead's gone down near the ball. His opponent, Hodgson, stayed back in St Kilda's defence, 60 metres behind the play, as you can see it.
Tuck puts his head over the ball, and as a result, they win the clearance through Kennedy out wide. Franklin in his 100th. Hodgson should win it, though. Hodgson beats him to the ball, and now loop ball goes to ground. Comes out wide. Hodgson again, good second effort to Graham. And now Blake pops it up to Armitage. Well done by Ruffhead, closing late. Sees it over the boundary line right in front of the interchange gates.
Clint Jones always gets a tagging job, and it's
Lewis?
Jordan Lewis who is playing on today.
That'll be a fascinating duel. King only as far down as Franklin, who spins out of it. Lewis might have had a push in the back. Umpire says play on. Shields and Bateman. Now Tuck back to Gillum. Oh, and slipped through the captain's fingers. Somehow they managed to regather. Franklin through the centre of the ground. Gets out wide, and it was brought down was Tuck. St Kilda here, they win it, and it goes inside 50. Capped underneath it. Schneider takes the mark.
If we go back to the centre, Kelly, it's the Stephen Milne tackle to dispossess, which was the beauty. He just stripped the hawk, and we'll have a look at it here. And Stephen Milne's tackling there is just absolutely first rate, enables ball to get the quick kick into the forward 50.
So Adam Schneider off, had a bit of work on the hammies, and the left footer from right in front. He draws it.
And just a wonderful tackle by Milne. Quick kick by Ball. The Schneider mark, and he's able to put through his 25th goal for the season. Stevie Milne tackle, we'll have a look at it coming up. Absolute beauty on Josh Kennedy. Quick kick by Ball, sets up Schneider. He ends up with his 25th goal for the season.
Kennedy for Hawthorn makes a clean takeaway and swings it into the wind. Looked good off the boot, but it came to a rapid halt. Rioli went straight to Hodgson. Now Blake for St Kilda. Got goals against Hawthorn in a late season home and away game last year when the Saints turned around an apparently beaten situation at half-time, and then took control in the second half.
Jared Geary got the job on Cyril Rioli.
Goes long, hoping for King in the air or a crummer. There'll be a ball up here. Untidy game in difficult conditions, but I think we'll have to come to expect that as the day wears on.
Campbell Brown playing in the back pocket, Tim, and he's on Stephen Milne.
Shields knocking it forward, but straight to Ray, touched off his boot. Mitchell beats Clark in the race for it, and then puts it in Franklin's direction and keeps coming. He's well subdued. There'll be a ball up at the 50 for the Hawks.
This will be a day where tackling is tested because the ball will be on the ground a lot. It's slippery, it's windy, and as a result there'll be a lot of half fumbles and opportunities to wrap up opponents in tackles.
Renoff palms it down only as far as Graham, who just blazes away to the wing. Going back, going for the punch was Murphy, but Schneider read it best. Good start for Adam Schneider. Kicked the last goal. Centering kick to the first gamer, the debutant Stephen, who great vision out wide finds Jones from 50. It's a high ball, 50-50, and Brown beats Milne on this occasion. Campbell Brown
Did it well. Needed to be sure with his hands. Had Milne covered in the air. Mitchell finds the boundary line.
And it's a good effort there by Campbell Brown. Pressure on him, because if he fumbles that in the slippery conditions, it's a Milne goal. So Campbell Brown, the swing man, can play back or forward.
And can play on a bigger man or the little goal sneak in Milne. Tuck getting a hand pass, no result. Graham, Kennedy, and now a ball up.
It's actually matched up on Nick Revolt in previous encounters between these two sides. So Campbell Brown probably breathing a sigh of relief that the Saints captain isn't out there today.
Saints going in without 3 of the top 12 disposal earners in the competition. 2 of the top 7 kick getters, 3 of the top 11 markers, 2 of the top 6 tacklers. It truly is a test of their depth. Gardner over it, Murphy's burying him and winning a free kick.
A couple of the Brownlow favourites you could probably throw in there as well, Tim.
Absolutely. So Murphy with the ball for the Hawks. Saints with 2 goals to 1, a 7-point lead. Franklin in his 100th.
Keep coming.
And that's a good kick too. Osborne finding some space for him. Kennedy. Now Rioli, but beyond his range. Free kick for him as he was taken high. Now the umpire's called advantage and Dowler misses the whole lot by a big margin.
Are you happy with the advantage, Tim?
Well, it probably wasn't the right call, was it?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he does take them on after he's given the free kick, and I think in the end, even though it's a poor result for the Hawks, you've got to accept it.
Blake across the face to Ray, who went back across the face. This is a calamity for the Saints. Roughhead, can he get a possession away? No, it's home for the boundary line. Roughhead went for the handball then, Rob, instead of trying to get boot to ball.
Yes, caught in 2 minds. Probably should have just blazed away.
So a let off for the St Kilda defence.
And Colm Begley was the man who fisted it through.
Gary, again, a little risky.
Yeah, just be careful.
Graham
high
takes
ones,
the
right?
mark. Warning comes to Brendan Whitecross. Graham finds Ray, who has blossomed into an elite footballer this season, the former Bulldog. At halfback, Long along the line, and the lead comes from Gardner. He marks in front of Taylor. Gives it off by hand. Now Armitage, first game for the season, a late inclusion, bouncing ball inside 50, and Campbell goes out to meet it. It was an awkward half volley. Schoenmakers comes in hard. Could have given away a free. Instead it pops out to Stephen, the debutant. First game, first goal. What a start.
Well, he did it so well. I've seen the little fella, couple of quick handballs. He went onto his left side, no problem there in heavy traffic. He was able to get it onto the right boot, 50 metres out, backed himself. Jack Stephen, the goal kicker, Schoenmaker there with the bump. It's going to be a physical game, and the handball by McAvoy to young Stephen. And I just like the fact that he backed himself from outside 50. He's pumped. Well done, young fella.
Yeah, he's waited till round 19. He showed his class there. Hawthorn free kick again. McGlynn long. Saints with 2 big fisters up. Come away with the footy. Geary pumps it long, but aimlessly. Mitchell been good so far. Lewis too far out. Rioli in space will mark and can go back and have the shot. They're nervous about the wind. Even then he was twice looking to get it off.
Yes. Well done by Sam Mitchell. Sam Mitchell's use of the ball has been very good in this first quarter. You just love the ball being in his hands. Left side, right side, doesn't matter. He hits targets.
If anyone can do it in the difficult wind, it's this man. He doesn't. It sneaks behind the left-hand stick for a behind, and the Hawks trail by 11 points. But I would think on corrected times or seasonal adjustment, taking the wind into account, they're very much on level terms.
Both sides depleted, but very committed. Plenty of physical contests early in this game. McQualter, long, out of wing. Not paid. Umpire says play on. Now the ball in dispute, and it squirts out wide. Running onto it is Ball, and he gives it over to Armitage, who's away. It's a wobbly old kick though, a low ball, awkward one. Gillam meets it, gets the handball away. They retreat, and now reload through Birchall, the local bomb, to Mitchell, swinging it out wide. McGlynn puts Hodge under the pump. Vice captain takes the mark, gives it off to Mitchell. Now they've got loose players, and I like the look of this build-up. Osborne out wide to Rioli, who just pokes it in the Franklin direction, makes him work for it. Can he keep it in play?
It's out of bounds. Out of bounds, but a nice switch of play, and Mitchell goes for Luke Hodge, as courageous as they come, takes the battering, quickly gives it back to Mitchell. Fast movement of the ball into the breeze by the Hawks.
Back in play, Gardner, Blake brought down. Hodgson, the veteran, gives it to Dawson and just sells him into enormous trouble. And they gang tackle Zach Dawson.
I don't think Zach Dawson will be thanking Maxi for that one.
Go the footy, guys. Go the footy.
So the Saints defence under siege. Ray can't get it out of there. Franklin among a few that jump on top of him. So the Saints have kicked 3 in a row after the Hawks kicked the opener. They are kicking with the breeze. Taylor palms it down beautifully to Mitchell. In fact, it was Osborne who was taken high and he'll win a free kick.
Osborne's kick.
Michael Osborne.
Back to the face. Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter.
Slow
It's
to
still
get
high,
up.
though. Osborne's kick. Yeah, I know, but it's still high, though. I've still got to pay. Accidental ones or not. Still got to pay it, okay?
And Zach Dawson gave him a slap across the chops, shook him up a bit.
Yeah, takes straight up.
I think the chance to kick a goal should revive him.
It's the line. Mark's there, yep.
So back in the side, Michael Osborne. He was a late withdrawal last week in Adelaide, a bout of tonsillitis.
Okay, it's in line with me.
Notable goal kicker. And he shouldn't miss from there, but he does. He pushes it across the face, and perhaps that swirly wind just caught it at the last minute.
Hold it. Ref, hold it.
And we can see the hit there, definite free kick. It'll be interesting to see the kick in by Raf Clark. Just about all the kick-ins have been short, and again, short one into the pocket.
The inside 50s, Hawthorn's way 10-6, kicking against a strong wind. And St Kilda's only saviour in the opening quarter has been that from 6 entries, they've scored 3 goals. Right now, they've got to try and get it out of their back half. And they are flirting with death, but Graham was able to hang on to it with the fingertips.
Well, about 4 marks, and they still haven't got out of their defensive 50, but the name of the game is keepings off, keep possession.
You'd have to say Hawthorn's quarter so far, even though the Saints lead on the board. A big leap from Gardner.
Gardner's just about killed a teammate, and he's going to run off before the teammate realises what happened. And it was a big jump, and Farron Ray
Nearly squashed.
he's lucky to be alive.
So just over 5 minutes of the quarter left. Almost 75% of it done. Lewis for Hawthorn, Birchall wrong-sided, Franklin, Mitchell held it all together in midfield. Schoenmakers, Franklin to Tuck, and back to Buddy in something like full flight. Lovely kick to Rioli. Hawthorn pressing again. Clever kick off the instep, but Roughhead slipped over at the crucial moment. Throws himself back into the fray. Hodge trying to crash through like a rugby man. Now McGlynn, but the defence have got him. It's a behind.
Gee, Luke Hodge in full flight. It's a wonderful sight. So courageous. Now, Buddy's getting plenty of touches, but a lot of them are in the defensive half for the Hawks. That won't worry Ross Lyon too much.
Here go the Saints again, trying to bring it out, and Geary just with the long bomb out wide. King couldn't take the mark. Ray with the quick kick away, straight to Gillum.
Yeah, and Kaczynski asleep back there. He's got to be awake for the quick kick coming into that forward line. He was 20 metres behind his opponent.
Gillum finds Murphy. Indecisive. Tries to take his man on, then Tuck. Now Osborne. Cute little kick around the corner to Schoenmakers, marks in the centre of the ground. Does well, Schoenmakers, beats his opponent. Gives the handball to Tuck. And then he goes out wide to Mitchell. At half forward, they've got numbers here. Over to Franklin. He loves this position, Lance Franklin. And instead of going for goal, he went to Dowler, couldn't take the mark. And a hurried kick out of Saints defence. They'll be happy with that outcome.
Supporters wanting a deliberate out of bounds. And there's plenty of them here at Aurora. The game was a sellout. There's Stephen King going for the boundary line. He got what he wanted. This game was sold out about 2 months ago.
Rob, this is, I reckon it's fair to say, perhaps the biggest football match played in Tasmania since Tassie beat Victoria in 1960 on this ground. It's a huge affair with Hawthorn playing St Kilda, and it's really shown around town in the last 36 hours. People are dressed up in the colours of the clubs. It's as though this has been the only thing on in town, and all roads have led here to Aurora Stadium today. Hawks pressing for a late goal. Lewis just too far out. Franklin with 2 in front of him. Couldn't crash through.
Good protection by Dawson. Didn't give away the free kick. Achieved what he wanted to do without making it too obvious.
And your old mate Joe Blake was able to stand tall and take the mark and deliver to Ray. But St Kilda really needing a goal or two to make the most of the advantage of the wind in this quarter. They lead by just 9 points. Renoff, good 2-grab mark. And Hawthorn are playing well there.
50 metres.
50 metres, so that will put Renoff in an interesting position. I wouldn't say necessarily a goal-scoring position, but he's got to be a chance. The entries are now 14-6. Hawthorn are dominating the quarter in general play.
That is, the umpire's got to stop walking. He doesn't realise he's already gone 75. That is amazing. That is a 75-metre penalty.
It's still no gimme. Man on the mark, 25 out. Wind blowing in 3 different directions at once. Renoff manages the job and puts the Hawks within 3 points.
Well, you can see the ball's pretty much on the true wing position, and a 50-metre penalty is paid, and that is closer to 75 than 50, I can assure you. I think we need to give umpire Ryan a tape measure.
Brent Renoff back in the middle. He would have been a little nervous lining up for that set shot. It was his first goal in AFL footy. And now he is contesting the ruck with King. Hurried kick out of the pack, sliding, diving mark by Schneider. Bounces to his feet and then kicks it up in front of Kazitsky. It's an awkward half volley. Gets the handball away. Back to Ball. Spent the last 3 weeks in the VFL. Kick comes inside 50. Milne did everything right and then dropped it at the last minute. And a quick snap from Schneider. It's a bouncing ball for a goal. How many times have we seen that this season?
Well, just amazing. Just amazing. And Luke Schneider, you can see almost a Milne mark, clips up to him. He's right on the boundary line. He's on his preferred side. So he knows what it's all about and realises he has to bounce it, get the kick of the ball, get the break, and he executes to perfection. Today's players are just so skillful. We see it every week. We shouldn't be amazed because they do it on a regular basis. But Luke Schneider, goal number 26 for the year. That's probably his best.
Important one for the Saints, but mightn't yet be enough. They need another goal, I reckon, to at least go to quarter time feeling they're on level terms. Hawthorn desperate in this quarter, and Tuck personifying that there to Osborne, to Lewis, who's been very good. Rough head, didn't hang on, or did he? He did. No, he hasn't been paid, but he's kicked the goal anyway. And again, the Hawks are within 3 points. Travis Tuck really hurling himself in and starting that play for the Hawks. Straight at the camera lens, like a boomerang.
And Jared Roughhead juggles it. Probably a little bit of a hand there by ref Clark. Umpire says you've got to play on. Doesn't worry Ruffy. Spins around on the non-preferred right foot and gets goal number 51 for the year.
It's back to a 3-point ball game. Jared Roughhead, he's kicked 2 goals in every game for the last 5. A free kick plucked in the middle, and it will go to Hodge.
Getting a few free kicks, the Hawks, but they should be because they are desperate and they are getting in first.
Gee, it'd be a big win for them if they could take a lead into the quarter-time break. They're mucking around with it here, though, and they've coughed up the possession. Jones to Stephen, and then just blazes away, bouncing ball inside 50. Campbell meets it first, gives it over the top to Murphy. Terrific tackle. He's mown down by Schneider. Is advantage play?
That is the worst non-advantage call I've ever seen.
Thomas Murphy has an awareness problem, and that's all happening behind the plate, but Thomas Murphy's got to have greater awareness of what is around him, and again a terrific tackle inside the Saints forward 50.
Someone needed to stand up with their leading goal kicker Nick Revold out. Schneider's booted 3 in the first quarter.
For a 9-point lead, they've kicked 5 goals from 8 entries to the 50. And Hawthorn are the second worst team in the competition at conceding opposition goals on per entry to the 50. Now, St Kilda were careering towards an open goal there, and the umpire called it back. So I'm glad Schneider kicked the goal, which was rightfully the Saints.
Gee, we've had some quick goals, haven't we? In the last 4 minutes, it's about 4 goals. Now, Neil Cordy down on the boundary line. Schneider came off in the first few minutes of the game, and we thought perhaps he wouldn't take any further part. Wow.
Well, what a miracle. What great hands those masseurs have. If they could even bring you back to life, Robert, with that sort of performance.
Cords, we're in the last minute. How's the wind down there to you?
It's pretty calm, actually. The flags are blowing pretty strongly, but on the ground, it's not such a big factor.
So St Kilda's ball, and Dempster takes it wide as the Saints press for perhaps one last one, but bad fumble by Jaron Geary. Schoenmakers sees it over for the Hawks. Still time for the Saints with the ball in their attacking half. Simon Taylor and Jordan Lewis, a couple of mean men to be stuck between if you're wearing a St Kilda jumper today. And there's Taylor again.
Taylor's bark's worse than his bite, Tim. I know he looks mean, but he ain't.
He's given away more free kicks than anyone else in the competition by quite a margin.
Or just go and get the nut.
Next worst or best is Buddy Franklin on that score. Here's Jones. Saints need a good bounce. They don't get it. And Mitchell is away. Now, could there be time for the Hawks? Up the hill into the wind. Franklin doing it nicely. Dowler, Lewis. But the Saints hold them up. And they might yet have a shout in the last 10 seconds. They need clean hands, a kick and a mark. It all has to be perfect. Schneider doesn't realise. Too late. The Saints lead. They lead by 9 points. And I reckon Hawthorn might have just taken the honours.
Yes, it's in this second quarter going into that breeze. Certainly the Hawks did in the first term.
Both ruckmen go at it and fly, miss it. Gardner then got it down to Jones, who pumped it inside 50. Still a ball to be won. Schneider gets his hands on it yet again. Booted 3 in the first quarter, and it's a high ball inside 50 by Jones. Mitchell meets it first. Now Brown caught, trapped, brought to ground. Saints aiming for the perfect season. No team yet to go through undefeated.
Sam Mitchell, 13 disposals, Kelly, and McQualter's got the job in this second quarter.
Taylor down to Lewis. I saw Jones had the job with him. It'll be an interesting duel. Jones has had a really breakout season. Shutdown player. So too is that man on screen. McQualter played every game for the Saints. Some of these players out here for St Kilda playing for a spot in the finals, perhaps grand final day.
Well, a lot of talk about St Kilda having players out for this game, but I tell you what, everyone who's come in he'll be thinking this is an opportunity for me to be part of a premiership team.
So it's a Hawthorn free kick.
And Luke Ball in particular, and I'd love to see him have a cracking game. He's been a really good player for St Kilda for many years, been dropped over the last month, and gets his opportunity back.
Stagnant start to this second term as Birchall with the free kicks it straight to McAvoy. McAvoy, long, down there was Kaczynski, chopping it off, floating back was Campbell. Gives it off to Hodge. Now Brown out wide to Whitecross. Queenslander takes them on. Tuck, the give and go. Streaming out of defence. And then he kicks high, makes Roughhead work for it. Did well, Jared Roughhead on that occasion. To Lewis. Tuck, Osborne. They're going round in circles. Hodge better be careful. He's going to be caught. And he is.
He elevated his arms, Hodge, when the tackle came, so he could get the handball away, but he just couldn't make contact.
It's easy, right? Luke, hand it over, thanks, straight away. Hold it, blood roll, blood roll, blood roll, blood roll. Thanks, Luke.
Clinton Jones, cut
Yeah,
eye.
right there. Just wait, just wait.
Well, he's had plenty of those this year, and the role that he plays as their #1 tagger, he can expect plenty more.
I'll tell you when, Boz.
Luke Ball's just come off as well.
Yeah.
And that is friendly fire. He's caught one from his teammate.
Give this bloke a chance to come
There
in.
they've hit heads, you can see together with the hit with Jaron Geary.
Play on!
So St Kilda's ball, and they're monopolising it in the early moments of the second quarter. Jack Stephen, one of the players to have just come on as St Kilda made a double change. Started well, the first gamer from Lorne with a goal in the first term. Bateman, Osborne and Roughhead combined for the Hawks. Gang tackle on Roughhead. Oh, goodness me. Just tackle around the head.
No sense of humour, umpire Vozzo.
You sat on the ball, you've got to try and get it out. Dragged it back into you.
But what about the high tackle, which just consistently goes unacknowledged? Armitage's ball for the Saints. Back to Hudgton. Not sure whether that counts as an entry to the 50 or not, as Hudgton marked it inside. Blake, Farron Ray. Birchall got enough of him to hold him up, but Ray got enough of the ball to find Clark. And St Kilda mount the attack. Geary pumping it into the 50. Mitchell been very good so far for the Hawks. Defence still has to work. Schoenmakers rode the first tackle well. Mitchell under pressure. It's a hard tackling game. Kennedy works it out to Lewis, to Bateman. Finally Hawthorn bring it away with some authority. Franklin, Roughhead, using a lot of handball, the Hawks. Bateman again. Rioli. And this looks better now for Hawthorn. Roughhead, the goal unguarded, but he doesn't go anywhere near it.
Well, we saw Buddy with another disposal, Tim, and again it was in the defensive half of Hawthorn. So he's covering a lot of ground, but when he gets way up to the middle of the ground, his opponent often drops back, be it Dawson or Hudgton.
So a bit of an arm wrestle here at Aurora Stadium in Tasmania. Blake back in play to McQualter. No side yet to score a goal in this second quarter. We saw 8 in the first term. Saints haven't played at this ground for 3 years. They're 4 from 4 from their 8 games. As this looks a little risky, a little dangerous. It's slapped down to McLean and the smother comes from Blake. He saved a certain goal.
Blake's decision to kick it to his teammate under pressure in the defensive 50 was a shocker. And thank goodness he was able to smother the kick and redeem himself.
So both sides looking a little hesitant early days in this second quarter. Over the top, Roughhead, Rioli, Whitecross, a tangle of arms and legs, and the umpire blows his whistle and says, give it to me.
Ben McGlynn, who's number 21 in picture, he often has tagging jobs, and Farron Ray is the man today.
Hudgton went down behind play and he remonstrates with Osborne. Meanwhile, Roughhead tries to get the handball away, comes out the back. Wilt had to go twice to get it. Little fumble, and now it comes out wide. Can Whitecross, in fact, Gillum keep it in play? He does. Brown, showing makers. High ball, Rioli outnumbered. He was always never going to get his hands to that one. Clark, now Rioli applies the tackle. Out to Gary, a fumble. Rioli's working hard. He's twisting, he's turning, he's spinning out of trouble, although he might be caught. No.
Where's the consistency in that? I mean, he had a lot of opportunity. It was brilliant, but he did take them on.
Took 2 on, and the third got him.
So Hawthorn continue to press, but whereas St Kilda are cutting through at one end when they get it near goal, the Hawks are not managing to do that against this St Kilda defence, which has constricted every team in the comp this year.
Of the 36 players on the ground, no one is further than 50 metres from the ball.
Gardner and Taylor. Geary eventually pumping it out of there, but still the Hawks' ball. Gillum poking it forward to Bateman, but it's very crowded in the 50, and well, it landed with Rioli, couldn't hang on. He's got it. McGlynn now. Whitecross on the boundary line wants it, but a much better choice is Taylor, and he can go back and line them up.
How quick and slick was Cyril Rioli, and then able to get the handball out, and McGlynn sets up Taylor. Rioli is absolutely super quick, slick, red hot, and a handful for the Saints at the moment.
So an important kick here. Hawthorn making no progress early in the quarter, and they don't make much here. It's a minor score, and still the Saints lead by 8 points. Hawthorn kicking to the scoring end in the second term.
Clark, again, they go very dangerous on the kick in, and Hawthorn could really torch them on the turnover. Franklin to Osborne, gets it over to Lewis. They're working it around, but Tuck's brought down.
And again, just a massive players around the ball. Ref Clark kicking in, and gee, that is risky stuff.
They've really had their problems, the Saints, and their kick-ins this afternoon. Jones, he's been bandaged up, and he's back on. And again, it's not coming out of there. Plenty of stoppages in his second quarter.
Well, there's not one player in the St Kilda front half.
Gardner down to Blake, dispossessed. And again, a stack of players dive on it. We'll go again.
And have a look at the open expanse to the left of screen. That's the Ricky Ponting end of ground.
Bit of holding in the ruck contest. Umpire lets it go. Now it comes out to Gwilt. He kicks round the outer side. McAvoy with a slips catch, the big man. Did well to get down low. At half back. The youngster kicks into the man on the mark. Well done by Robert Campbell, back in the side. He's missed the last 3 games.
I think Campbell's their best ruckman, Kelly. In fact, I'm sure he's their best ruckman, but with Trent Crode out all year, they've had to play him key defence a lot.
Good effort there. Kennedy gets the kick forward for the Hawks. There'll be another throw in. There's never a comfortable experience running towards a man who's about to kick the ball and try and apply the smother.
Tackles, as you can see, it's going to be a high tackling game.
And Saints a much higher tackling team than Hawthorn on the evidence of the season. So it really is degenerating at the moment.
Well, St Kilda, the toughest team to score against this year. Average score against them is just 62 points, and as you can see, the Hawks, with the numbers that St Kilda's got around the ball, it's just hard to find any space. They just strangle you.
They played that ugly Betty game going back a couple of years ago at the MCG, one of the lowest scoring going around.
High tackle, Luke Ball's free kick for the Saints.
Get up in now, or 50. Get up in.
Umpire Ryan laying down the law. It's going to be hard work on these transitions for the Saints, because this is a very big ground. So there's a lot of work to do as they fan out from defence. Ball's kick hangs in the air. So still no goal in 7.5 minutes of actual time. And that's a good outcome for the Saints as Hawthorn kick with the breeze. Gardner and Taylor. Shields in there for the Hawks, but there's no escape.
Held in, no chance to let him go now.
Boa constrictor of AFL football, otherwise known as St Kilda.
It's a different game, isn't it? But they so often do this, St Kilda, strangle the life out of the opposition and then are able to run away in the third, fourth quarters.
Saints escape, and Armitage kicks high, not very long. Kajitsky to McAvoy. Good placement for the dangerous Schneider. Murphy shared it with him and was able to get it to Osborne, to Bateman, and the Hawks escape. Now, they've got to be quick and precise on their transitions. They're not here. Blake to Clark, to Jones, to Graham, and the Saints will build again. Graham couldn't see anything he liked at the first go. He goes again. Still not much there for him. There'll be a throw in.
Stevie Milne, 5 disposals, a couple of terrific tackles, and playing on Campbell Brown, so he's in for a tough afternoon.
Inside 50 for the Saints. Milne around his body. The mark wasn't taken. All right, McAvoy. And the Hawks with the numbers. Birchall needed to be precise. The handball, it wasn't. Murphy chopped off here. The intercept underneath. The first gamer, Stephen, gets it out. Begley was in there working hard, so too Gary. Now Mitchell tries to take them on, and he's brought down by 2 St Kilda players.
Gee, the tackling's just so good by both sides. Sam Mitchell gets it, and it's a double bunger. Stevie Milne in the action again.
Brown still running with Milne. This is Renouf and King. Renouf to Shields, the schoolboy. Dispossessed as he was brought down, so too Schoenmakers. Umpire says holding the ball.
Well, Kelly, we've gone almost 14 minutes in this second quarter, and we've only had one score, and that was a Hawthorn behind when Taylor had that set shot for goal. Saints haven't scored against the breeze at all.
So Stevie Milne is 13-8 from set shots this year. From mid-range, loves a goal, and he's pushed that across the face. Couldn't break the drought in this second term.
Squared the ledger though, one behind a piece after almost half a quarter. It has not been thrilling footy to watch. Campbell Brown kicks with the wind and bangs it 25 or 30 metres beyond the 50. Kennedy to Franklin, and Hawthorn have got to move it quickly. Franklin just held up though by Hutchton's arm. It's a free kick for a high tackle.
You know, Buddy got that.
No, you did. You got straight on top of his head, mate.
Buddy got that through sheer desperation. He had 3 efforts at the footy, lunged at it like that one there, and umpire said over the shoulder,
And rightly so.
well done by Buddy.
Skimming pass, but the Saints filling all the holes, ticking all the boxes. Graham to ball. Playing a bit of possession. Armitage told he's played on. He must have crossed the mark, and the umpire felt that he was going to run on. Now Gwilt. But like Hawthorn in the first quarter, St Kilda advancing slowly to the non-scoring end, playing possession. Farron Ray. Still a long way from goal on this vast ground.
Move it on! Play on!
Where Hawthorn don't lose too often. They were beaten this year by Brisbane. Good tackle by Lewis as Ray found playing on the only way he could coherently advance.
And I reckon a few St Kilda players are looking at Kazitsky and saying, well, you've got to present. You can't be 70 metres away with him kicking into the wind. Come down and present as a marking option.
2 defensive teams at their defensive best.
Line held to him. No prior.
Yet another ball up. It's unattractive, but it's enthralling.
Justin Kazitsky yet to have a kick in this game. Couple of handballs, but he's got to be coming down to present a little bit more than he has been, because they can't kick it 70 metres to him.
Once again, the ball hits the deck. Alistair Clarkson a little frustrated in the coach's box.
And the runner out to Kazitsky as we speak. And I reckon I know what the message might be.
Ran off to Lewis. They're working hard in and under.
Took him down to the sideline.
Fierce attack on the footy. Not going, making any distance whatsoever. Here's the disposals per goal.
Well, the Hawks have had 60 kicks and close to 100 handballs.
Held his arm so he couldn't go up to the mark.
Free kick to the youngster in Shields.
That's a 50-metre penalty because the return of the ball was ridiculously high. I don't know whether it slipped out of the hand or was deliberate, but should be 50 anyway.
Might have just held up in the hurricane like Aurora Stadium wind, Rob.
Let's have a look at Debster.
Oh, he went for elevation, there's no doubt about that.
He's gone for a bit of hang time.
It's Renoff with the free, who just loads up, goes long to the goal square, and a bit of hang time from behind Dowler. Well, it beat the pack. Dowler was right at the back of it, and he judged it beautifully, and finally the Hawks break the drought in the second term.
So Bo Dowler, he marks this monster of a kick. You can see the big pack.
Shocking kick for the forwards, Rob. They were lucky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A good kick for the defence, really.
Yeah, and I would think that Stephen Silvani, the defensive coach of St Kilda, would be filthy that that ball was allowed to be marked.
It was one that slipped through the tightest net in football. Here's Schneider. He's really been the most effective man on the ground with 3 first-quarter goals. Bateman's in the way. Mitchell has been cool. Oh, he's held it too long. He overdid it there. He had Bateman.
No advantage there.
It'll come back.
No advantage.
He had Bateman as a safeguard, but he decided he could take them on. And he just had a bit too much confidence in himself.
He did. He's built low to the ground, Sam Mitchell. He's got great evasive skills, go left side, right side, but gee, they nailed him there.
So James Gwilt to take the free kick. Too far out to score. Almost scorer behind on the near side. The Hawthorn defence, without difficulty, they're able to force the behind. So St Kilda lead by 4 points. Plenty of time left in the quarter if Hawthorn could string something together with the win.
Saints have got 2 big fellas off the ground at the moment in Gardner and Kazitsky. Might be an idea to give Kazitsky a run in the ruck, get him going.
Gillam and Tuck share it around, and then Gillam's handball was too low for Kennedy.
Didn't drag it in, he just tried to gain possession as he finds the ground.
And they lose possession of it. Chance here for the Saints. Goalless so far, just over 7 minutes remaining.
Got to be in the back to McAvoy.
The contest. Go through, mate.
I tell you what, Simon Taylor can give away a free kick better than any ruckman I know.
Well, as Tim said earlier, he's given away more free kicks than any other player in the league.
Well, that's just ridiculous. It is. I saw him last week, Hawthorn playing Port Adelaide in Adelaide. He gave away about 5 at the centre bounce. It's one thing to have intent, but you can't be crude in your tackling. It just costs your team too much.
Ben McAvoy kicked the first for the Saints this afternoon, but he can't strike through for a second. So still goalless in this second quarter, the Saints.
I like the kicking theory of Campbell Brown, just long down the guts.
Absolutely, almost to the centre circle, but of course it can rebound quickly. Milne is there, he'll have 3 to beat, and he wins the contest with one of the hardest men to beat in the game, Campbell Brown. He runs around and he loves those, he devours
sure I do like the theory. I'm not sure I do like the theory of going long down the guts, Tim. Maybe that's a good reason why they don't do it so often today.
It does have something to do with it. But it perhaps rebounded a little too easily.
Well, we got caught up in the Campbell-Brown long kick, but gee, the Schneider kick was a beauty into the breeze, and Campbell-Brown took his eyes off the foot. He lost his opponent. Good mark by Milne, good goal.
Sometimes they can come unstuck, Rob.
No, absolutely. I don't know if he'll do it. It'd be interesting to see if Campbell-Brown kicks another long one down the middle. He's kicked 2 kick-ins after behinds, and both of them landed just about in the middle of the ground, but gee, that one came back quicker than what he sent it away with. You can see there the clearances, the Saints starting to get the ascendancy. It wasn't that way in the first quarter.
Free kick.
Simon Taylor's
Yes,
added to his stats. He the man. He the free kick man. Saints press again. Brown nearly outmarking Milne that time. And there is a St.Kilda free kick.
Straight on his back. No, I've already called time on.
And it's Armitage to take it with the man on the mark about 35 metres out.
They've got all their advantages wrong so far this afternoon. There's Taylor giving away yet another free
And
kick.
that's the new instruction this week.
I don't think he's too smart. You just got to understand, you know, what goes on in the game, and he just gives away blatant free kicks.
So David Armitage from within range, but with the buffeting wind to contend with. Be a big goal if he can kick it. And he does kick it. And the Saints are outscoring Hawthorn against the wind. And if the first bump wasn't a free kick when he fell, Gillam fell into Armitage's back, it certainly was the second time around.
Justin Kazitsky coming back onto the ground, and I reckon he might have just been given a bit of encouragement from the coaches. Has to get himself into the game.
Back-to-back goal for the Saints, and they're out to their biggest lead of the afternoon, and it's inside 50 again. Armitage kicked one only seconds ago, and he just nudges this to the right-hand side and misses. Late inclusion this afternoon, playing for his first game for the year.
Well done there by Stephen King to rove Simon Taylor's ruck. They are going long down the middle again, the Hawks.
And they might rove front and square for the spoil that came last time. This time it doesn't. And Hawthorn might make something of it. Rioli, but Dawson's in their path, the former Hawk. Now McGlynn. Geary's got him. Blake. Ball. Good move by St Kilda. Game opening up a little. Eddie as the Saints advance. McAvoy. It's some sort of a target up there. He's had a couple of shots at goal.
He's been handy, Tim, the big fella.
Way too far out here. Gives to Jones.
Both teams playing 3 ruckmen today.
Jones, oh, shocking kick, horrible ball, but McAvoy's got it again.
On cue.
A new star is born. He's been terrific. He's been really good for them. And with Stephen King and Gardner both in the team, it just means that McAvoy can spend a bit of time up forward. And he read that kick really well.
He started the day with 2 career goals.
It's like he's caught one right on the beak as well.
Well, they got him fired up. He's added 1 to that count already. Missed from another set shot. And he misses here. Ball stays in play. Krzyzewski's appealing for it. Won't get it. St Kilda can't capitalise here. Hawthorn, goal, they might yet. Gee, Graham had a chance. It slipped through his fingers. Hawthorn's defence a rabble at the moment. And there's a St Kilda free kick.
Held straight his back.
Well, Well, gee, was this a mark? Was this a mark by Kazitsky? Very much like it, I thought.
All St Kilda at the moment in the second half of this quarter is becoming a disaster for Hawthorn. The game and the season really getting away from the Hawks. Blake.
Back in the direction from where it came, Hudgton. And now it's opened up for them. Clark is away.
Good composure by Ref Clark there, Kelly. Could have blazed away, lifted his eyes and saw Gardner heading towards the goals. Graham sniffing around saying, I'll kick it for you. I reckon this might be beyond the big fella. For a ruckman, he is a very good kick.
He's going to back himself in from well outside 50 and perhaps just tried to give it a little bit too much, Rob.
Well, he did. He's kicked 12 goals this year, the big fella. 12 goals 4, so he's kicked accurately, but not that time.
Here's Campbell Brown, who'll bring it back in play and opts this time not to go the big bomb. Instead across the face, just as dangerous. Comes off for them though. Lewis has a runner out wide. Hodge and then Kennedy. And now it's back to Roughhead. Trying to grab hold of possession. He needs to get the handball away. Birchall. They're going to go backwards to try and go forwards. Lewis, centre of the ground. Rioli at the drop. He's away. And he sends it inside 50. Franklin's one out. Can Franklin get there? Keep it in play. And he does just. He gets around Gardner. He's too quick. He needs to get around Hudgton, who charged in and wrapped him up. Gets the possession across the face of goal. And they're going to be caught here for holding it. Young says, give it to me.
If you're a St Kilda supporter, you'd be delighted with the tackling effort. Watch the tackle of Ref Clark coming up. But he hits it into space. Have a look at Ref Clark. Bang!
And really getting the arms so there can be no release of the ball. Job not really done if the ball can be released. Here's Kennedy to Shields. And he is within range. And Hawthorn are crying out for a goal here in the last 2 minutes of the half. It's quite incredible, really, that a front half with Franklin, Roughhead, Rioli and others could be so impotent, but such is the defensive orientation of St Kilda and the effectiveness with which it's applied. Liam Shields. Hawks down by 18 points. He's hooked it out of bounds. Still down by 18 points. And in the end, it's going to be a pretty good half for St Kilda. Incidentally, at halftime, we'll be speaking to St Kilda Premiership player and Brownlow medalist Verdon Howe. The Saints had a reunion of their 66 team here in Launceston last night. Terrific night. We'll hear a bit about it.
Schneider goes for the long bomb. Big pack forms. No one can take the mark. It's knocked down. Out the back, running onto it, McQualter. Kennedy wraps him up.
He stopped Kelly. He stopped McQualter because he looked forward. There was no one there. There was no one in one half of the ground, and he backtracked and got caught up. But, gee, what a tackling game it's been. The Saints have had 66 tackles already, and that's the second highest for half a game of football this year. Just amazing the number of hits that this team puts on the opposition.
Free to Lewis, to Mitchell. There's another tackle and a big one from Armitage. He rides him into the ground and Mitchell coughs up the ball.
Well, it's extraordinary. I think in that game in which Collingwood beat Geelong a couple of years ago, Rob, it was 85, wasn't it, that Collingwood had, and it was regarded as a phenomenal number.
We raved about that.
St Kilda are well beyond 60, heading towards 70 in a half.
I envy you, Tim, last night being with all of those past St Kilda Premiership players and champions.
It was a terrific night. And, 17 of the 20 were there, 19 are alive. Ian Stewart and Darryl Griffiths were overseas. Dying seconds of the half here. And again, Hawthorn can't escape, and their last scoring chance has gone. The Saints are going to go to half-time with an 18-point lead, and in a grinding doer game, that is a big advantage. They've had a good half, Rob.
They've had a terrific...
Great show tonight.
The whole Franklin family couldn't get flights, Tim, so they've been here all week having a bit of a holiday in Tassie. So they'll be hoping that Lance steps up in the second half.
That's called good planning, Kel.
And we see Luke Hodge in picture. Sean Dempster looks like he'll run with him. Dempster, I really admire Dempster coming back from that knee reconstruction. Of course, premiership player with Sydney a few years back. He can play back, forward, or take a turn in the middle.
So Hawthorn down by 3 goals, and they are desperate for some momentum here. They're kicking to what wasn't the scoring end early, but St Kilda did outscore Hawthorn in the second quarter. So the bounce recalled, umpire Ryan throws it up, and the Saints go forward and wide. Jones, Gwilt and Birchall, the latter making the spoil. Graham back to Gwilt. Jones again, and a man loose. Luke Ball stepping inside 50 and missing.
And that's what he's got to do. That's the area where he's got to get better. Needed to be a goal, wasn't too much pressure on him, missed by a long way.
So we see Sam Mitchell now on kicking duties. Just the 1 goal for the quarter in the second. The Hawks.
Saints going with the 2 big fellas up forward in McAvoy and Kazitsky, with Gardner doing the ruck work.
Gillam to Lewis. Jordan Lewis closing in on his 100th game. Of course, he was taken in that draft that featured Franklin and Roughhead. Taylor couldn't take the mark. The Saints able to mop up. Eddie gets a kick away, but it's out of bounds on the full. So the Hawks will get another chance at it.
Jones running with Sam Mitchell.
Kennedy, that's an awful kick. Missed everything, and like's a fortune, it lands in the hands of Rioli. Over the top to Osborne. On the lead was Roughhead. That was ignored. Instead goes long, rather. Roughhead at the top of the goal square. He needs to beat 3. It was Renoff on the lead. Roughhead working hard, but well outnumbered. And the Saints clear through Graham.
Got Kazitsky.
Not much pressure from the Hawthorn forwards there. Different story when the roles were reversed in the second quarter. Here's Schneider. McWalter running inside. Just can't break with Hodge coming at him. Sits it up, and that's a free kick against Brown. It'll go to Milne.
I think he just put the brakes on Stephen Milne, and Brown followed through on him.
Stephen, where you are?
And a goal here to get this lead out beyond 4 goals is going to make it very difficult for the Hawks. So Milne from 45, and he doesn't miss too many. It's his second, and the Saints are getting away.
Adam Schneider, he's just absolutely red hot today. Clever little kick around the corner to McWalter. Schneider kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. He's had 8 contested possessions, 13 disposals for the game, having one of his best for the year.
This is a real big effort from the St Kilda Footy Club, missing 8 of their best 22. And the lead now out to 25 points. Hawks with the clearance, Roughhead at the drop. Defensive punch from behind. McGlynn, they need a spark, the Hawks. Ball in dispute. Now King, can he get down to it? The big man can, gives the hand off to Luke Ball, sends it inside 50 into the pocket. He can't keep it in play. Milne sees it over, and Rob, all of a sudden, if they can win this afternoon, the Saints, there's a real chance to keep this perfect record intact. There are 3 games remaining, Essendon, North and Melbourne.
A great ruck work by Kazitsky.
But it's the Hawks with the smother, and they can clear. Looking for Franklin, gave away the push. So it's been a nightmare day so far for Buddy. It's Erie that wins the free. Lasers away, and McAvoy, the big man, was there. What, their chances of going 22 straight?
Oh, they are, Kelly, and Saints, and people have said, how would they be if they got into a grand final and hadn't lost a game? I'll tell you how they'd be. They'd be super confident. It's interesting, Gardner's going down for those forward pocket ruck contests, even though Kazitsky and McAvoy are down there as well.
Hawks managed to weave their way out, or at least part of the way out. Birchall to Hodge. Oh, Schoenmakers running straight into a geary tackle.
Now to him. Tackle didn't linger. The tackle did not linger, Luke. You threw yourself back, mate. Straight back.
Gee, they're tackling well, the Saints, on world record pace at half-time.
And they're going to press again. Graham from just about within range. But it's a miss. The lead is 26 points. The traffic is very much one way. And Hawthorn, who beat St Kilda by 9 goals in a preliminary final last year, on the way to the flag, are going to need to produce an unexpected reversal.
Gee, they let Sam Mitchell do the kicking in when they're kicking into the breeze.
And now he takes the third disposal too, and he gives to Campbell. Graham anticipated Bateman's movement, and St Kilda forced the turnover. Good smother though by the Hawthorn defence. Tucker was who made it. Schoenmakers comes away with it. Kennedy needed his courage there, and he had it. With a name like his, you wouldn't expect anything less. Rough head, there was a fumble low, and Dawson was able to hold things up. And the St Kilda defence comes from everywhere. Blake gives it up. Hawthorn a chance again. Touched, or touched the ground as Roughhead receives from Kennedy. Ray manages to hold it up for St Kilda, and there'll be a ball in.
Mine, go through.
So a chance here for the Hawks inside 50. Saints got the first one after the long break through Milne. They really need a quick reply. Falls out the way of Jones though. McQualter on the left, kicks to McAvoy out in front. Gee, he's been impressive.
He's been very, very good, McAvoy, today. In fact, the best game I've ever seen him play with his marking.
His kick just overcooked it for Gwilt. And now the Hawks, Mitchell, they've got numbers. Can they find an avenue through? Osborne, long, Roughhead with the sit, went at it one-handed, couldn't pull it down. Clark, now Dawson. Trying to corral him was Rioli. Hudgton out wide to Ray. Bearing down was Dowler. Ray gets his kick away. McAvoy again involved. Jones. Got a loose man. Defensive side of the wing is Gwilt. He just dabs it further up the line to Armitage. Playing his first game this season. David Armitage kicked a goal. Kazitsky fumbled. Now Campbell regains possession, sends it up the line. It's Gwilt and Schoenmakers. Schoenmakers gets boot to ball. Now the look away handball by Jones. They've given it up though, they've lost possession. Birchall, and then the tackle. He fumbled the handball, applied the tackle.
No chance.
And it's not getting out, so we'll have a bounce.
Drop Buddy Franklin back to the goal square on Max Hudgton. Buddy spent a lot of time around the middle of the ground, even on the half-back line for the Hawks. I think that's a good move. Put the dangerous man near the goals.
Taylor palmed it down looking for Lewis. No clean possession again. It really is a hard ball to win at the moment.
No extra men behind the ball, so it's one-on-one all over the ground.
Ross Lyon, in his third season as St Kilda coach, missed the finals in his first. Took them to 4th last year, and here they are unbeaten, heading for 19 in a row. As they again bring it out of defence. Graham kicks backwards to Dawson. Point to prove this afternoon against the side that delisted him last year. Still a rookie for the Saints. Blake, they share it around and they bring it back the other side. Hudgton, the standing captain, given there's no revolt, or Lenny Hayes, the vice-captain. Armitage, the give and go. Now Jones needs to be quick, but he's bearing down. He missed him. And now Clark. In fact, it was Gwilt, rather. They've got numbers to get out of spot of bother. Running down the outer wing is Armitage inside 50, straight down the throat of Renouf.
Great effort by Franklin to chase from out from a long way away and out of Hawthorn's front half. Mitchell has worked hard all day. Murphy, Osborne, Geary the tackler, now Tuck. White cross to Lewis. McGlynn, look left, no one to give the ball to, and he's gone.
They just persist with the chase and the tackle, this St Kilda team.
Walk there, Ben. Stay there.
Quite frankly, I've never seen a team do it as they do. And there's Colin Begley, the Irishman, had a few games for Brisbane, his first game for the Saints.
And giving to King. Goes for Milne, one out. He read the drop of the ball better than Campbell Brown.
He dipped him and he just stuttered a little bit with his step to stop Brown getting near him, and then he pushed forward into space to take the mark. That was a very smart mark taken by Milne.
Brown making him pay. Milne kicks in a hurry. Free kick to Hawthorn as he puts it out on the full. Hawthorn, after a promising start, really getting into a hole in this game, and partly of their making, but great credit to St Kilda, who've strangled them. Franklin to Lewis. Good spoil though from Geary, who's having a pretty good quarter.
Blood rule.
Ben
McAvoy down in the forward pocket. He walked past the umpire and the umpire saw a bit of blood.
I've noticed that spot that you picked up about 2.5 quarters ago, Rob.
Yeah, someone got him on the beak.
Luke Ball, an interesting inclusion today. Is there a place for him in St Kilda's best team in the finals?
I hope so. I hope so. His work rate is terrific. His courage is good. His disposal, his finish, his running into space has to be better. And I don't know if at 24, 25 you can get any quicker.
King down to Jones, who blazes with the left. Free kick to Hawthorn. The ball having a breather. Hasn't had a huge possession day. Shot for goal earlier in this quarter. He's used it 10 times, 6 kicks, 4 hand passes.
Big difference there with kick to handball ratios. Hawthorn handballing almost twice as much as they're kicking. And if they handball and handball to each other, you know the Saints will tackle you.
You just sense the Hawks have stopped and the Saints have kept going as Brown brings it out of defence, looks for Franklin at the drop, juggled the mark. Perhaps that can boost his confidence and his team's. The handball though sold Murphy into trouble, and Shields has first, second, third effort, can't pick it up. Again the ball in dispute, and not for the first time this afternoon. No one can clear it.
Well, we've gone 12 minutes in this third quarter. We think it's about a 2-goal breeze, and the Hawks yet to score.
King and Renoff down to Kennedy. Again, can't get a clean possession away. And the strangle is on. Lockdown footy at its best. We saw the Saints do this to the Crows a couple of weeks ago, Rob.
Oh, yeah, they strangle you and they frustrate you.
Now Begley. Caught in and under.
Last free, mate. Just sing on it.
Let's go down to Neil Cordy on the boundary. Neil.
Yes, Kelly, just at ground level, I've never seen a team tackle like St Kilda have this afternoon. It's just absolutely unrelenting, and it's just shaking the confidence that the Hawks have every time they're in possession. They're just getting sweated upon.
They're rattled in the midfield. The kick comes long and straight to Ray. There was no one home inside 50.
Yes, there was a loose man back there, perhaps just by accident that time, but Ray goes way back.
Right there. Right.
And Blake.
Hawks are doing a good job to go one-on-one to cover. The umpire says you've got to kick it.
Well, you said Hawthorn haven't scored in this quarter, Rob. They haven't really looked like scoring. They've worked the ball up there 3 or 4 times, but never with any real attacking method. Geary takes on Dowler and wins. Blake with 3 to beat in the aerial contest here. Saints with some men down. Kajitsky missing the streaming Milne with the hand pass, so there'll be a throw in.
Justin Kajitsky, 1 kick, 3 handballs and no goals.
Saints on level terms now in the inside 50s, which Hawthorn dominated in the first quarter.
And that was a free kick called by the umpire, 50 metres away for holding.
McAvoy ran to space, but he wasn't spotted. Milne was, but the kick was never going to find him, and it's his opponent. Campbell Brown's had him all day. Raph Clark, though, too tall for McGlynn. Ray, ball back on, high tackle.
And I reckon Luke said, well, I've got you around the neck, I might as well go the whole way. And those two boys in the same draft, Hodge and Ball, and good mates.
Luke Ball in the centre of the ground. Just stabs at that kick.
That's his worry.
Straight to rough head.
That's his worry, and he's just got to get better at his disposal.
Playing for his spot in this side on the eve of finals footy. It was a terrific kick out wide. Pinpoint pass found Hodge. Sends it back inboard to McGlynn. Hawks desperately need a goal. They're going to have to kick at least 5 to keep their season alive this afternoon. They've kicked 1 in 1.5 quarters. Now Franklin, a little bit of positivity about this move. Gives it over the top to Whitecross, and now back to McGlynn, who sizes up the big sticks and puts it through. A much-needed goal for the Hawks.
Good run and dash by Buddy Franklin, coming off half-back. Gives it away and sets up this attacking move that gets the goal for the Hawks. Buddy Franklin setting that up from the defensive half, comes through, takes it, carries, gives, and really broke through the lines there, and McGlynn able to finish off well.
Franklin really the only player showing the creativity and flair to open St Kilda up for Hawthorn, but he can't do it constantly.
He was good last week too, Tim, over in Adelaide when they played Port Adelaide. He didn't have his kicking boot on, but he got a lot of the ball, covered an enormous amount of ground. You see him there with Zach Dawson. Once he goes down to the middle of the ground into half-back, Zach Dawson zones off, stays back.
So Hodge swings Hawthorn forward. Clark coolly, though, brings it down. Geary off the outside of the boot to a 50-50. Murphy gets his body in front of Begley's, rather Stevens.
Back in the jumper!
There's a hold, and there is a free kick to Stephen, who was held by Murphy by the jumper.
A little bit of Lee Montagna in this fella.
And he waited the kick beautifully for Schneider, who played on and got himself into stride. Gee, he's playing good footy at the moment. He's full of confidence. To Ball, to McWalter. Oh, he fought on, prevented the Hawks from breaking away. Birchall, Taylor. Hawthorn looking for movement, but just not really finding it. Taylor slides it inside to Dowler. He gets a call over on the other side of the circle from Whitecross. Has to work to get there. Just managed to hang on to the mark, but the lunge, of course, prevented him from playing on.
They are trying to play it on, the Hawks. They are desperately trying to keep that ball moving.
Oh, Birchall gives it up with a poor kick. Graham, nothing forward of him. He is a long kick of the ball, and he's hoping to run it home. It hasn't quite got the legs, and Murphy gets back. If Graham had given that a bit more, and I reckon he had a bit more in him, he could have run it home. He was a bit careful. Whitecross, Gillam to Birchall, try again, and this time he hits the target.
And he squares the kick out wide to Mitchell, who's got some time and space. Assesses the options. Short to Hodge, the give and go. Mitchell running past. And now he's got Bateman on a lead. Chance Bateman wheels around, looks for Roughhead. Oh, wonderful defensive play. Chopping it off, it falls to Rioli though. And Rioli snaps a goal. They've been clinging and clinging and clinging, and they still remain in this contest.
And it's the two veterans, Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge, who set this up. Desperate spoil by Blake and read by Rioli. finish off in a low-scoring game. 2 goals in about 3 minutes. Very important. Dangerous man in that forward line and just reads the crumbs so well. A couple of quick goals to the Hawks. Game on again.
Yes, we might have to reappraise it. They're coming home, we think, with the win. And often at this ground it does rustle up late in the day. Oh, that's a high tackle. Wilt, the perpetrator.
No, we'll put that in
Jordan
the book.
Lewis.
Look at that.
Yes, it's a report.
He's going to report him.
Well, he stood pretty much stock still. He didn't.
I agree with you,
barge
Tim.
at him.
I
Yeah.
agree with you, Tim. I think okay to put in the report, but I don't think much will come of it.
Mitchell to Gillam to Taylor. Suddenly Hawthorn have found something. Hodge to Osborne. Out wide to Roughhead. But Blake made the spoil. Roughhead fights on. Osborne. Hawthorn can load again. Sitting it up into a good spot. And McGlynn can have another go.
Just moving the ball on at all costs, the Hawks. Playing on with reckless abandon. And starting to come their way. Starting to hit targets. And perhaps this St Kilda team.
Well, they've worked very hard, Rob, haven't they? They've worked back in defence, and as I said early in the day, it's a very big ground, and perhaps the work rate might tell.
Just starting to tire them, perhaps.
McGlynn, now how's the win? From 46, starts right, stays right. Disappointing result, but Hawthorn showing some promising signs.
Well, the last 10 minutes, the stats tell it all. It's all Hawthorn. 47 to 16 disposals. 47 to 16. They've controlled play.
And in the last few minutes, the Hawks have found a way to break the game open. Begley driving it out of defence. Man in front was King. Too big, too strong. Out-muscles Taylor. Over to Armitage. Down the line. One-on-one. McAvoy and Campbell. Campbell goes for the safety of the boundary line. Jones somehow keeps it in play. Murphy's there. So too Armitage again. Line was looking a little comfortable a few minutes ago. Now very vocal in the coach's box. Just on 5 minutes left in this third term.
It's interesting. Kazitsky's run from the forward 50 to the wing position to defend and left McAvoy in the forward 50. One out with Campbell. So Kazitsky, actually Kazitsky going 2 kicks behind the play. Getting him back near Buddy.
So Rossline making a few moves after the Hawks kicked the last 2. Back to a 13-point game. Bateman dealt with harshly. Eddie gives away a free. Well, the warning went out to the clubs this week. It's a good example of that there. Bateman pressing forward again, the Hawks.
Clever kick.
Kennedy to Osborne. No one running by. On the trusty left, out wide, and he releases the run of Gillam, who gives it over to Lewis. And Lewis from 50, instead of going all the way for home, he kicked it to Kazitsky in the goal square.
Well, you'd have to say the Rossline move worked.
Not sure what he was thinking there.
Shocking kick by Lewis. He had Franklin halfway screaming for it. He ignored him, went over the top, but he didn't go for home. He kicked it straight to Kazitsky. St Kilda now, though, intent on defence. Schneider to Hudgton. And this game has certainly taken a new turn.
Right, Jordan.
Dawson. Geary. St Kilda by 13 points in the last 4 minutes. Ball back from the bench. And he hits a target here. McWalter, who played in that preliminary final and didn't have a kick. He had 3 hand passes on that ill-fated night last year. Finds Armitage here. 65 out. Milne is promising. And he's good hands in which to have the ball.
The Armitage kicked him, an absolute beauty. And Armitage coming into this team, his first game.
First game this season.
First game this year. And, you know, everyone's talking about the players who go out. What about the players who come in?
Hasn't played since last year's preliminary final loss to the Hawks.
Well, they want to stake a claim. It's their golden opportunity.
Milne for his third of the day. He's missed it. And that's a blessing for the Hawks. They're still there. Late in the third quarter within 14 points. That is close enough.
A let off for the Hawks. Gillam back inboard to Tuck. Came into this side this afternoon after spending the last 6 weeks in the VFL. To Murphy. And now Shields. A schoolboy. Only training with the club part-time. Finishes year 12 this year. It's going to go long up the line. King's underneath it. Taylor in front. Kazitsky awarded the mark.
50 metres, knocked the ball away from his hand.
Well, I'll see how far this is.
Is that Taylor again?
That's got to be, well, he hasn't stopped walking, the umpire. That's a 60-metre penalty.
Might have been Lewis who was the offender.
Well, it's interesting. Kazitsky couldn't get into the game as a forward, and the coach moved him deep into defence about 4 minutes ago. Took a mark in the defensive goal square. Another good mark on the wing, 50-metre penalty, and now a chance to kick his first goal.
Only 5 touches for the afternoon. He runs over 50 and he lets load. And he's just nudged it across the face. So another let off for the Hawks. They're still in the contest.
Saints have kicked 8 goals for the day. Schneider and Milne have 5 between them. They might be a chance here as Hawthorn muff it on the kick-in. Ball up as a reprieve for the Hawks. Season on the line. Frustrating year it's been for all concerned. Lots of injuries throughout. And the Hawks never really looking the same team that won the flag last year. Another ball up.
High ball.
Still time for some scoring, and a goal either way will be absolutely telling. Campbell Brown on Milne all day. Milne has 2, probably should have more. He's missed a couple of times with gettable shots, unlike him. Showenmakers to Mitchell, advantage to Hawthorn. They had a free kick if they wanted it. Oh, Lewis might have given it up again. McGlynn was brave, and so too was Whitecross, and he comes out of it with a free kick. So Hawthorn's ball, about 90 seconds to go. Now Franklin has been the one to make things happen. A former wall here to Dowler. He runs into a similar wall. He just lofts and hopes. Lewis, Rioli, always danger when he's around. Tuck, Campbell, Bateman, Hawthorn building. Bit of urgency about them. Placement, Kennedy brave. Roughhead coming the other way, got his teammate. St.Kilda defence closes in and holds its ground.
And Armitage gets his kick away to the centre of the ground. Campbell takes the mark. The Hawks will come again. Bateman, maybe they won't. Ball, chopped it off.
Good kick.
And then he's got a runner. And this is McQualter. Kicked a couple against the Swans last week. Over to Graham, who just unloads from 60 out. Is it the steadier they need? Not quite.
You know, some opportunities the last 5 minutes. The Saints get that second goal of this third quarter with the wind at their back.
What would you want the Hawks to do if you were coaching them, Ron? Try and construct a goal from here or play safe?
Well, with about 27 seconds to go, keep possession.
Well, they might have kept it dangerously. They've given away a free kick. Luke Baldwin's holding the ball. Now, his disposal here will be crucial.
I doubt he could kick a goal from there.
And he knows it.
He's done the right thing.
Clark now needs to kick and get a mark. Running out of time. Jones from a long way wobbles it home on the bell. The Saints get a killer of a goal. Clinton Jones kicked it, and if it's not a winning lead, it's taken them a long way towards it.
You know, Tim, when the handball went to Clint Jones, I thought, you really don't want him to kick.
Hawthorn Footy Club, their season is on the line. And it's the Saints by 22 points as we turn into the last quarter. Taylor down to Hodge, back to Lewis, kick away, inside 50, bouncing ball. And Blake's there. Over to Clark. No one can pick up a clean possession. Dawson just tries to paddle it out. We'll have a bounce inside 50.
And all of the players in St Kilda's forward line pushed down, so you've got nobody in that front half. As soon as there's a stoppage, the players, it's like bees to a honeypot. They all just swarm in.
Gardner, rough head. Can he get it out wide? Lewis was running past. Couldn't get the handball away. David Armitage, 22 touches up until 3/4 time. He's had as many possessions as Jones for the Saints, so a terrific afternoon for him. Here's Jones. Graham, Clark, keeps it in play, just. Kicks it to the first gamer. This is Stephen. Jack Stephen. A goal in the first quarter. It's a terrific kick. Pinpoint accuracy finds ball.
Well, Armitage, who we saw riding the bike a few seconds ago, Kelly, 22 disposals is a career record. And coming in for his first game of the year. Hard to break into this team, but he's done it well.
What about the hard running by Stephen? He kicked it to ball and then he went down and marked it. Now the ball in dispute. High ball inside 50. Hodge with a timely fist sees it over the boundary line.
Now, do you know why they ride that bike, Tim? Matthew Richardson told me a week ago. It's to get rid of the lactic acid.
It's the old lactic.
He loves his lactic acid theory, doesn't he, Richard?
He does.
Taylor bringing it down, but danger here. If St Kilda could kick one early, that is just about it. Brown to Mitchell. Runs it out beyond the 50 and over for a throw-in. Hawthorn needing to make the early running. St Kilda looking to be headed for victory, number 19 on the trot. And it would bury Hawthorn's season. Travis Tuck, Birchall, Kennedy, Renoff, back to Kennedy, now McGlynn, but a good steal by Blake. Didn't go all the way with it. Support from Begley. McGlynn arrives hard, brave player. Put his head in over it, comes out of it with a free kick. So Hawthorn's ball and a chance to make their first serious assault for the quarter. Franklin, can he work a miracle today? He went under there and he's gone down and he hasn't picked himself up yet. Saints with numbers all over it. Oh, rough hit. Might have been high contact, not paid. But the St Kilda defence just will not relent. Franklin vertical down. Shaken, not stirred. There'll be a ball up.
Straight up here.
Hawthorn still in a scoring position. Oh, there was a push there. He should have got a free kick. That was clear cut.
Birchall a little groggy behind play as well, as we see Franklin come off under the blood rule. Cop one high, and here's Birchall. Just a few moments earlier, also whack across the face. He's a little bloodied as well, but trying to stay out there. Over the top was Renoff. Taylor was actually in the ruck contest. And Stephen was dispossessed. Lewis tried to get a kick away, a quick snap. He was caught. Lewis goes again, fighting hard. Hurried kick out of the pack. And now who can run on and meet it first? It's Birchall. Back to Hodge, spinning out of trouble, forced to go backwards. Relentless pressure applied by St Kilda. And slipping over in the middle of the ground was Murphy, and the Saints can burn them on the rebound. Kaczynski, it's all over here. St Kilda will run into an open goal, and Milne will kick his thirst. Perhaps good night, Hawthorn.
Well, they did it well, St Kilda, when it opened up to them. No panic. No panic. They had that open half of the ground, and the big fella Kaczynski, he had the confidence to pick up, run, have a bounce, sum the situation up, put the handball to Stevie Milne, who was able to kick his third goal.
Quick, mate. Turn right.
And just to have a look at this. This is the slip that's just killed them. Good pickup by Kaczynski. Has the bounce, gives it to Stephen Milne, and Gee, you love that situation where there's 4 St Kilda players, no one in front of them, and an open goal.
Well, it was a calamity. Tom Murphy falling over inexplicably, and the pass from Birchall, who's an exclusively left-sided player, when he really should have been able to use his right, cost Hawthorn dearly. Only a left footer, I reckon, Rob, would survive playing one-sided football these days.
Yeah, I agree. And tough work for the Hawks with Buddy off.
Tuck turning into trouble. Hawthorn still trying, but I think the sense of belief must be fading as St Kilda lead by 28 points, and it would take some Franklin magic to turn this game around. 28 points, it was about the margin they had on Geelong a couple of weeks ago at the MCG. This is a hard ground to score on, and St Kilda is a very hard team to score against.
High ball.
And you can see the disposals there. Hawthorn have a lot more disposals because they've handballed and handballed and handballed. 181 handballs, probably overdone it, but they just felt they needed to try to break through that magnificent St Kilda tackling machine.
Did very well there. He was third man up in the ruck contest, then he roved it, and then he ran forward, and he's taken a mark. He's a good kick at the ball. He's hoping for Kajitsky, but Campbell Brown led him to it and drew the high contact. So it's Brown's ball.
Tim, talking to those great St Kilda players of the past, they must be proud of this current team.
Oh, they love it, and they all say that they want it to win. They feel they've carried the mantle for too long, and there's no sense of possessiveness. They want a new St Kilda premier.
Hawks working it through the centre corridor, but it was left to Roughhead to do all the work inside 50. He needed to beat about 4 St Kilda players. He can't. Hudgton to Dawson. Not sure if that was an effective handball. Looked like a throw to me, but it's Begley streaming out of defence and finds Stephen.
He's been terrific, this kid, on debut.
Had a couple of flags for Lorne. He grew up in Lorne and under 17 and 2 senior premierships, so he knows success, and the Saints really got their tails up here. Their confidence is lifted. Ball finds Kajitsky at half forward. He loads up. He goes long. McAvoy's closing late. Taylor's forced to stand his ground.
Control the ball, thanks, Steve.
And he'll be paid the mark.
I don't think he can give away a free kick from there. Finds McGlynn, who's been good for Hawthorn, has not stopped trying. Neither's Rioli. Lewis. Now an open front half. Roughhead, but again, this is the Stephen Silvani coaching, I think. Just the body contact. They take it to the limit. They don't give away a free kick, and that was a Silvani trademark. Here's Blake. Dowler tries to corral him. Blake gives it up straight to Murphy, who's battled hard but can be a little accident prone, as he was a while ago when he fell over. McGlynn to Bateman. Rioli again. And Ed Franklin back out there. Rioli trying to break it open, but got himself into stride.
Great tackle by Eddie. There's not one St Kilda player who doesn't commit to tackling with intensity.
Milne's all by himself inside 50. The only St Kilda player in there. Kajitsky couldn't get it in there quick enough. And now Bateman. Out the back to Tuck. Over to Taylor. Big man loping through the centre of the ground. Over to Birchall. And then he kicks out to Mitchell on the lead. Too far out to score. Had Whitecross running past on his right. Instead, he kicks it on the left. Couldn't find a target, though. Kennedy, can he conjure up something from right on the paint? He lets rip and it smacks into the post.
Got their problems, the Hawks. Obviously, Buddy coming off with the blood rule, and Roughhead limping off, and they're working on his knee, so he's in trouble as well.
Remember the Geelong game, Kelly? Kennedy didn't have the shot. He had it from a little bit further out there, and he hit the post. If he'd hit it that day, Hawthorn probably won, and they were probably still in the fight for the finals, but it looks as though at the end of this game that might be all over. Taylor to Kennedy. He's been good today. He's going to be a very good player for them. Tuck to Bateman. Clever kick to Osborne under the pump though. The Saints arrived. And they hold it up.
Drag back in, guys.
Jared Roughhead leaving the field, hobbled off a little while ago.
And that's where he got hurt.
Probably on the landing. Came down awkwardly. Hawks need to construct something. Needs something to happen. McGlynn again, good effort. Been very good. Kennedy has to give it back to him. McGlynn the up and under. Hopes and prays that his ruckman can do the job at the throw-in.
Gee, the two ruckmen, Stephen King, former Geelong captain, of course, premiership player with the Cats, Michael Gardner, grand final player for West Coast, both veterans, but gee, they're playing some good football in their twilight years at St Kilda.
Taylor down to Kennedy. Free's been kicked out.
Beckley's kick.
And it's going to Begley.
Thanks, mate. Straight back. Hey, come on. Let it go.
It doesn't look like he's in the best shape. Colin Begley, the Irishman, 29 games in 3 years at Brisbane, playing his first game this afternoon for the Saints. Came in after Del Santo and Sam Fisher were late withdrawals to this side. Here's a replay of the incident. That's what I heard.
He got one right across the Adam's apple, and he's struggling for breath.
Ball can go on for right.
He's going to come from the ground. Blake will take his kick. Goes long on the outer side. Shields just quickly boot to ball. McGlynn worked his opponent off it well. Couldn't go and win it. And now goes again, sees it over the boundary line. 27 points the margin. It was the Saints by 9 at quarter time, 18 at half time, and then 22 at the last change. Starting to get desperate for Hawthorn. Taylor down to Hodge. He's caught by Dempster.
Dempster's run alongside Hodge in this second half and done a really good job.
It's been a pretty impressive comeback from a knee reconstruction, hasn't it, Robbie?
It has, and he's the sort of player who can play anywhere. I saw him play as a centre half forward for St Kilda about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he knew how to play the role. But basically, he plays as a defender with a very tight job on a star forward. And he's shown today he can go into the midfield.
Tore his anterior cruciate ligament in round 22 last season against Essendon.
Stephen King's pretty tired in the ruck. He's been yelling out to McAvoy for the last 3 minutes, and the kid is not watching the other ruckman, and he's getting frustrated, King, because he's just about run out of gas. And he's saying to his young mate up in the forward line, come and help me.
Good sign that he's going to get through this game unscathed after his shoulder popped out last week. He goes with the left this time, a right arm strapped. Stop-start the last few minutes.
McAvoy getting the message and starting to wander down.
The Saints with a handy lead, 27 points. The strangle is on. Here's Dempster. Gets his kick away. Running onto it, Kazitsky. Putting his head over the ball well there was Shields.
Buddy Franklin, this is what happened to Buddy when he went off with the blood rule. And see something fly out of his mouth. He could have lost a tooth. We'll have another look at that at some stage, but doesn't look like a mouth guard. Could be part of a mouth guard, but I've got a feeling Buddy might have lost. Have a look at Buddy's mouth, and you'll see something white fly out.
Ooh, gee. What a nightmare 100th. Goalless and toothless.
Our cameramen are the best. They don't miss a trick either, Tim.
Well, they like you and Darren Goldspink, Rob. Oh, yeah, there's a telltale gap there for Buddy, so that's most unfortunate. And pretty painful, too. he was in that exchange from another angle, pushed in the back, and he had a tooth knocked out as well and didn't receive a free kick. You would have to say that was a pretty serious oversight. Here he is, still trying hard. Good attempt, brave attempt. But St Kilda, as ever, just seem to have 2 to Hawthorn's 1 every time the ball goes forward for the Hawks. Ball gives to Blake. We have just over half a quarter left. Hawthorn need to kick 5 goals to win it. They've kicked 6 in the first 3.5 quarters. It is looking impossible. But where there's time, there's hope, I guess. But this St Kilda defensive machine is almost impenetrable.
Well, they average 62 points a game kicked against them, St Kilda, and looks like they'll maintain that again.
Sad day for Lance Franklin in his 100th game. He's given it everything he's had. He hasn't kicked a goal, and his team looks as though it's going to plunge right out of the finals race. Luke Ball missing a target, putting it out on the full. Hodge to take the free kick for the Hawks. Farron Ray showing the wear of the battle as Hodge goes up the line, and Renoff takes a good mark. Now they've got to get it in quickly. All the numbers aren't too heavily against them. It's not a great placement though. Kennedy, their only hope initially. Osborne arrives. It'll be a ball up. But it is looking an exercise in futility at the moment for the Hawks. And the Saints headed for 19 straight. And by the look of that draw, it would take a massive accident now for them not to go through a 22-game season unbeaten. Never been done before. Here's Lewis, though, and Hawthorn with a scoring chance.
I believe the Saints have got some good players to come back in, Tim.
And of course, we'll, at the start of the finals, give them a chance to equal Geelong's all-time winning streak record. Lewis kicks the goal. 50 metres not required. The margin is 21 points.
Not happy, Ross Lyon, questioning one of his assistant coaches, looking at the live ladder, and you can see the Hawks with the 8 wins, the percentage around about 92. They still have time, but it would be a mammoth task against this team.
Particularly as the ball flies inside 50 for the Saints. McAvoy, Graham, perhaps sensing one last goal here, the Saints. Stephen on the boot. Top of the goal square, McAvoy gets rid of his opponent with ease, gives it off to Milne, quick snap, and misses to the right-hand side. We saw in that graphic before, Rob, that the Saints only play 1 game for the entire season at the MCG. That's in round 22.
Yes, and I think they're trying to get some training sessions there because they're not there all that often. Again, they go straight down the middle of the ground.
Hodge for Hawthorn. Renoff having taken a good mark. Roughhead's back. Osborne gives it to him. It hasn't been his day. He's fumbled a lot. Hodge trying to barge through. Hodgson looks for the free and gets it.
Hawthorn's matches to come. Adelaide Crows, that'll be tough. Tigers, you'd think they'd win that, and you would think they'd beat Essendon.
Won't be enough if they lose this. Port Adelaide, of course, their problem. Port have Fremantle this weekend. Then they have Carlton in Adelaide, Brisbane at the Gabba, as Farron Ray's back, and North Melbourne. Have to be at least a couple of wins in there. Graham centres for the Saints. Campbell Brown, Milne misses again. He's kicked 3 goals, 4 for the day. He really, on any other day with the opportunities he's had, would have kicked 5 or 6. He and Schneider have 6 of St Kilda's 10 between them.
Franklin back on with the don't argue, and then over to Rioli. Gives it to Bateman. A bit of run here for the Hawks. Runs to half forward and then goes long. Dowler, one out in front. Didn't take the mark. The experience of Hodgson sees it over the boundary line. Back in play. Hodge courageously puts his head over the footy. Graham holds him up. And now Schneider kicked 3 goals in the opening quarter. And that should be out of bounds on the full, and is. So a free kick to the Hawks. 7 minutes remaining. 23 points the difference. Finds Bateman just.
Wondering whether that ball was ever in play.
I'm with you there, Tim. Bateman to the pocket, Roughhead on the lead. He's off getting some treatment on his left knee. He's back on and he's in the right pocket for a left footer.
They need 4 goals. They've got just over 6.5 minutes.
It's a pretty simple equation. They will not get it if they continue to use disposal like that. What was he thinking, Jared Roughhead?
Had to have a shot, didn't he?
So Schneider, long, all Hawks, Gillum. Centres it. Murphy bombs away with the sit in front. Couldn't take the mark. Blake, Jones, Clark. Back to Jones. They're sharing it around. Trying to clear it. And now Ray. Another casualty from this afternoon. That was a beautiful kick. Finds Dempster on the run. Takes his man on. Gets around Schoenmakers. Now back to McQualter. Shrugs the tackle. Ray. High ball centre half forward. And it's all Hawthorn. Tuck. So the Sting well and truly gone out of this game. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Lewis to Shields. And you heard the call from the umpire. Play on. King wants the free.
Stephen King can't believe he doesn't get a free kick. The big bloke prides himself on his tackling because all his mates do. And Ross Lyon, he'll get a lot of satisfaction out of this performance with so many players out, but the boys who've come in have done him proud.
Ray to half forward. Kaczynski in front. Can he take the mark? No. Might have got a push there from Campbell. Now Shields again. And Port just standing still with his Hawthorn teammate. Closing down was Clark. Well played by Clark.
Ref Clark's been fantastic, Kelly. Look at him. Continues on.
Played his 50th last week and was pretty good against the Swans up in Sydney. And he started the piece of play and he finishes it and gives it to Stephen Milne, who's booted 3 for the afternoon.
Well, I thought Ref Clark did really well last year in the finals. He was a shining light. Question mark on him. He's been in the system a while, but would have given him a lot of confidence what he did in September last year, and he's followed on with it this year. Just a shame his brother Xavier's not out there.
Milne into the tough swirly breeze, and it won't make the distance, and it's punched over the goal line for a behind. So Stevie Milne still with 3 to his name. Schneider has 3 as well for the Saints.
He hasn't come to terms with the Aurora Stadium currents, Stephen Milne. Tuck swings it clear for the Hawks. Milne's opponent Brown, height advantage, body strength advantage, aerial skill advantage. Gives to Osborne, to Bateman. Hawthorn just have to go for broke here. Hodge tried to, but a St Kilda tackler will get you almost every time. Clark to Eddie. Into the last 5 minutes. And it is ebbing away for the Hawks. The Saints against the odds, almost. All that money flowing onto Hawthorn, coming to Launceston with 8 top players out of the lineup. And they've been equal to the task, and they're going to make it win number 19. It looks as though they have 3 almost certain victories ahead. Remember that the all-time winning streak record for the VFL-AFL is Geelong's 23. And we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but there's every chance that St Kilda will be playing for a share of that record on the first week of the final series. Extraordinary achievement. King, lofts and hopes. Campbell, big man brought crashing down.
Held in mind.
And for the umpteenth time today, there'll be a ball up. Big crowd in Launceston. Alas, they haven't seen the best game ever played here. They've seen just about the highest stakes game and a game between two high-quality teams, but it hasn't produced great football. Haven't had an official figure yet. They were hoping for over 20,000. Tasmanians again showing their tremendous enthusiasm for the game. I just can't help but wonder how many would be coming if they had their own team to support. Here's Rioli for Hawthorn. Now Shields. Dawson leading Dowler to it and beating him on the double back. Blake giving him. Saints working it around. Ray, Jones, Eddie.
Tim, the crowd is 20,011, the second highest ever here.
Yes, they had a bit over that for a Richmond game, I think about 3 seasons ago. I reckon if the ground would hold them, they probably could have had more than that. Hawks try and build again. White cross, just doubted himself for a moment, and it's St Kilda who press, ball running it. But, as is so often the case, when it comes off poor old Luke Ball's boot, it just does the wrong thing.
Was the handball on? I just thought he could have handballed that one, Luke Ball.
Well, the Saints have set plenty of records this season. A win today and they'll win in every state in one season. The first team to do so, having won in Adelaide, Perth, the Gold Coast, Sydney and Tassie.
Kelly, that tackle was St Kilda's 111th, and that equals their season high. They are amazing. Let's see if they can get another one to break the record.
So they're smashing all the records, left, right and centre, as it comes to the middle of the ground. Hudgton goes backwards to Blake. Well, they're in possession, Rob. They're not going to get that tackle. Eddie to Ray. Came off, got patched up, back on again. What a season for him. He's played every game. Over to McQualter, who's played every game as well. He's a terrific footy story. Delisted and then put on the rookie list and then promoted to the seniors. So he's done it the hard way and perhaps will play a role for them in the finals. Back to ball. Clark, big collision. Franklin dispossessed, brought to ground and then a bit of a wrestle. Frustration coming out for Buddy Franklin.
Everyone get up, guys. What have we done for wrestling? Get up, everyone. Get up, everyone. Get up, hey.
A bit of niggle behind play.
Buddy not happy with Joe Blake.
His emotions spilling over as McAvoy tops off a wonderful afternoon. Arguably his best game today with a big mark. And then kicks long, but it's all Hawthorn. Campbell takes the mark in front of Dawson.
50 metres, told Zach to come back. 50 metres.
So 50-metre penalty paid here. Go to the Hawks.
Zach, I told you 3 times to come back. He actually went forward in the end.
And he was running over the mark, Dawson. So Campbell will take it.
Steve Mill, right away.
And the siren sounds, decimated